We're going to be talking today about peaks and valleys, and I'm going to give you 3 steps to getting through those valleys a lot more quickly and easily. You're going to hear me talk to you about these 3 steps and how they absolutely do work, and they've worked for me, but I want you to know that it is a practice. It is a practice that you will get better at. So the first time you do it, you're going to feel instant relief. And then you're going to notice like 10 minutes later, you're going to be like, great, all this shit's back in my head again. What I want you to understand is the more you do it, the better you get at it, the more the good feelings will last, which is going to shorten the valley. But before I do that, I want to tell you why this works. And I'm going to give you an analogy that I think everybody can relate. So the analogy is, think of your best friend, maybe your daughter, somebody that you are very close to, and you're sitting at the table and your best friend, your daughter, is telling you, I'm so scared. Nothing is going right in my life right now. I feel like I want to do this, but I just can't do it. I don't know what to do right now. I'm so scared. If your best friend was sitting across from you and she said those things to you, what would your reaction be? What would you say to her? Would you say, what is your problem? This again? My God, why don't you just try being positive and not thinking about it? No, of course not. You would most likely say, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you're going through this. Tell me more. What's happening for you? And she'd go on to say, well, this happened in my life and it made me feel scared and alone, and I know I probably shouldn't be feeling this, but I don't understand what to do. And you would talk to her more about these feelings. You would sit there and identify with her and say, God, I can imagine how you feel. That sounds awful. Of course you feel scared. Of course you don't know, you're feeling fearful. You would acknowledge, right, and identify her feelings. And then what would you say? You would say, all right, so what can I do for you? And she'd be like, you know what? I feel so much better just talking about it. Thank you so much. Thank you for helping me through this. And you're going over there, you're over here going, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. I just listened to you. And she says, that's all I needed. I just needed you to listen to me. I needed someone to hear me. And you'd say, yeah, anytime. So then you'd say, all right, so what do you want to do? And she's like, well, I think I want to start doing this. So then that would fix that. And you guys would start brainstorming on solutions. But rewind a little bit to the first 2 minutes of that conversation. If she came at you with, I feel scared, I don't know what to do, I'm feeling sick to my stomach, and you said to her, my God, woman, get a grip. Let's find you some solutions. She would never say, oh my God, I feel so much better. Thank you. No, it wasn't until you identified with her. So the first step when we're in a valley, because the peaks feel great. I don't feel like we even need to talk about the peaks. The peaks are great. You've done the work. You're cleaning out the body. You're cleaning out the mind, and you're feeling awesome. And then all of a sudden you start going into a valley. And what is the first thing that your mind does when you're going into a valley? You go right into fear, or at least I do. Go right into fear, and you go, oh my God, what is happening? My leg is numb again. Why is my leg numb? God damn this leg. If it wasn't numb, I could do so much with my life. Why? And you start going down that, right? You need to do for your body what you do for your girlfriend. So the first step is acknowledge and correctly identify the emotion. Identify with your body. And this might feel foreign to you in the beginning, but the first thing you need to do is acknowledge what your body is going through. So you are going to feel separate from your body. You're going to go, oh, the leg's numb, and I'm starting to feel fearful. Okay, well, why? Well, because my leg's numb and it's scaring the shit out of me. Okay, well, that is scary. That is scary. Let's just feel that for a second. Ready? And do this with me. Well, that is scary. Oh, Jesus Christ, because if I don't get my legs back, then I'm not going to be able to take care of my kids, and I'm not going to be able to walk, and I'm going to have to rely on my husband even more than I do now, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so it's scary as fuck, right? Yes. Okay, and breathe through that. Allow your body to express to you what it's trying to express to you, and your job is to identify it, correctly identify it. The first step is to acknowledge and identify the emotion. Just like you would with your girlfriend. You'd say, God, that really sucks. I feel you. I see you. And that seems horrible. Do that for yourself. Do that for your body and say, my God, this does feel horrible, doesn't it? Well, just went to the bathroom in my pants again. Yeah, it does feel horrible. Okay, well, that's because nobody likes doing that. So I get it. You're right. As soon as you start identifying with your body, you will feel your body relax. Now, while we're on this live, if you're having any kind of symptom, if you're in a valley and you're having symptoms, I want you to do these steps with me as we're on this live and watch what happens with your body and let everybody know what's happening with you. You don't have to get personal, but you can say, I did feel it. I actually took a breath. You will feel your body go and just relax, even if it's just for 30 seconds. The second step is surrender and allow. Immediately, as soon as you start to identify that emotion and say, I'm feeling really scared. I'm feeling like I don't know what to do. I feel like I don't have any choices. I feel like the world is crashing down on me. Okay. Rather than fight it, because that's what your ego mind is going to want to do immediately, is to fight it. Don't feel this, don't feel this. What you're going to do is surrender to it for as long as your body needs. And you will know this once your body takes a breath. You're going to surrender to it. And this is what surrendering looks like. Okay, I am scared and I'm going to sit in this fearful mode right now. I am scared and I'm going to sit in the fearful mode right now for as long as my body needs me to do this. And say it again. I'm going to sit in this mode right now and feel the fear. And as you do that, the emotions are going to start coming up. You're going to start feeling what your body has been trying to tell you. As soon as you start feeling that, the ego mind is going to want to say, no, don't feel that. No, don't feel that. Pack that down. That's the part that you have to fight. That's the part that you have to say, okay, I understand that you're scared and you don't want to feel this emotion, but I need you to just take a break for a second. I need to feel this. Just like when you're sitting with your girlfriend and she's talking to you and she's in tears and all of a sudden you start tearing up and you're like, I'm so sorry you're going through this. This is awful. Let me hold this space for you. Let me be here for you and let me feel this with you. That's what you're going to do for your body. I'm here for you. I feel that you're scared. And you're going to sit in it as long as you can. When those tears start to come up, that's when you know you're letting some pressure off. You're making some space in your body. Because until you make space in your body, none of the good stuff, none of the intuition is going to be able to come in because there's no space for it. There's panic, there's fear. And until you allow your body to feel it and recognize and identify the feeling that your body's trying to communicate to you, it's going to stay like this and prevent anything good from coming in. So in order to get through the valleys, the step one is acknowledge and correctly identify the emotion. What am I feeling right now? What emotion is this? And if you have to look at a list of emotions on a piece of paper to correctly identify it, then do that, because that's what I had to do. Then the second part is surrender and allow. Okay, I'm allowing myself to feel. Trish, that's a good one. My body doesn't let me cry. Mine didn't either. Because let me guess, it sends me into asthma attack every time. It was sending me into a panic attack every time because your body wouldn't let you feel it. You have to understand that you've been programmed. Don't worry, we're going to get to step 3. You have to understand that you were programmed a long time before prefrontal lobe was even fully developed. Your body understood that it was not safe to feel emotions. So before you could even feel the emotion, your body goes, oh, no, we're not doing this. And it packs it down. And this all happens subconsciously. All you feel is the attack, the asthma attack, the panic attack. That's your body going, I have to get this out. I have to get this out. It's not coming out. Oh my God, what do I do? That's what that attack is. So if you're unable to feel the emotion and your body is just attacking in a way of panic or asthma, that's when the real work begins. You can try to acknowledge and name the things. That doesn't always work. You can try talking to somebody and saying, I think this is what I'm feeling. I'm not sure. Help me work through these emotions. Or you can go to your go-tos for crying. What your body needs to do is release emotions. Now, this isn't always feasible, but it works 100% of the time if you have the time to do it. And this is where I had to start the journey because I wasn't able to pull up the emotion just by correctly identifying it. I had to go back to movies that made me cry. The one movie that made me cry without fail, 100% of the time, Steel Magnolias. Is anyone familiar with the Sally Field scene? that makes the entire world cry instantaneously. If you can get yourself to cry for something else, that's when you're going to lean into that and force out as many tears and lean into that emotion. Your body doesn't care how you got there. Your body just needs to release emotion. And if you need to use a sad movie, or maybe books are your thing and you have a book that you know as soon as you go to, or if you have a memory that you can access that's going to stir up those tears, however you can manually stir up the tears and then lean into them, that's going to take the pressure off right away. The reason we tear up is because emotion is finally getting released out of the body. The reason why the body feels tense and like it's vibrating, like it's going to fucking explode, is because that's exactly what it's going to do if you don't get some of this emotion out. And just naming the emotion is going to help your body go, yes, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Because the body doesn't speak to you in English, it doesn't have a language, or whatever language you speak. The body doesn't have a language. It can't say, I'm feeling scared out of my fucking mind and I need help. If your body was to say that to you, you would respond with, oh, okay, well, what's the problem? What's going on? I didn't know that. No, what it does is it starts panicking. Before it starts to panic, your job is to identify what is going on. All you have to do is check in with your body and go through the list of emotions and say, is it fear? Is it panic? Is it scared? Is it sad? Is it just going into the unknown and I'm not sure what to expect? Is it frustration? Go through a list, and as you will see, as soon as you come across one of them that your body's feeling, you're going to feel the, and you're going to go, oh, that's what it is. So first, you acknowledge and correctly identify, then you surrender to it. And you say, okay, I got you. You're feeling scared. Let's feel scared together for however long you need to. And trust me, as soon as you give your body permission to feel it, it never needs as long as you think it's going to take. Honestly, it probably only needs a couple minutes, if that, of you saying, it's okay. You can be as scared for as long as you want, because I am strong enough to go through this with you. Just like you would say to your best girlfriend, I am strong enough to go through this with you. It's okay. You are retraining that subconscious programming that got programmed in childhood that it wasn't safe to feel your emotions because bad stuff was going to happen. Was anyone able to clearly communicate their emotions at 5, 6, and 7 years old to their parents in a safe way where their parents would say, oh my goodness, tell me more. What are you feeling? Let me give you a hug. That must have been awful. I didn't get that kind of upbringing. Did anybody else? So if you're wondering why you're not able to properly communicate with your body and understand what it's feeling, that's why. And that's okay. We're not alone. Half the world is dealing with this too. But half the world doesn't have what we have, the perfect storm that is called MS. So we're going to go into further videos in the future, and I'm going to go through all of the lists of symptoms, and I'm going to tell you what's the virus and what is the subconscious mind, because healing all of MS is the body, the mind, and the soul. Only 75% of our symptoms come from the virus. The other 25% are coming from the subconscious programs. So as we're cleaning out the body, we're going to be cleaning out the mind and getting rid of those subconscious programs that do not serve us. That's the proper way of saying it. That fuck us up entirely. And then we're going to be replacing them with the healthy programs. And this is one of those healthy programs. This is the one where you are teaching your body that it is safe. No matter what happened in childhood, it is absolutely safe to feel your emotions. And I will be here for you, and we will feel them together, and they will be scary. And I promise you, nothing bad is going to happen, because it's normally fear that we're dealing with. And fear feels like danger. What I've had to talk myself through these last couple of months through this move is I would feel so overwhelmingly scared. And I would talk myself down by saying, all right, you're feeling scared. What are you actually scared of? Where's the danger? And what I finally got to, after I asked myself enough questions, I got to, there is no danger. I just don't know what's going to happen. So it's fear of the unknown, which is scary. I get that. But it's okay to go into the unknown, because you can do hard things and you can be in the unknown and find solutions I've seen you do it before. This is my inner talk. I've seen you do it before. You're really good at it. And each time you go into a situation like this, you're really scared. Don't get any easier, but you get better at it. So the fear is just coming from the unknown. And it's okay, because once we get there, we're going to find solutions. Now, how does this relate to when we're going through the peaks and the valleys of MS and the symptoms? Normally, when we're talking ourselves down and we're saying, okay, what are we scared of? Okay, we got a numb leg. What does that mean? Then we start going into the unknown. What if this? What if that? What if this? So the last part of, so let's go through the steps. 1, acknowledge and correctly identify the emotion. 2, surrender to it, surrender to that emotion. And then 3, let it go. And I hate this one. And I hate this one because when people say to let it go, I'm like, great, I'll let it go. Is that the key? Is that the answer? Let it go. How do I let it go? Like, I want to know, like, what are the steps to letting it go? Because if you're telling me that that's the magic answer to just let it go and let God. Okay, how does one do that? How do I do it? So I've taken years figuring out the actual steps to letting it go. And then we're going to have a bonus step number 4. So let's talk about the how to let it go, right? Because if that's the answer, okay, great. How do I do that? Does anyone have any ideas of how to let it go? I'm going to give you another analogy. There's a train. Oh, the screen's not wide enough. Okay, there's a train and it's heading in this direction really fast. That's the scary thought, the thought that you want to let go. It's going vroom, and you're like, I can't let it go. It's like a friggin' freight train. It's going down. I'm spiraling out of control. I can't let it go. All right. The way you let it go is you acknowledge what the thought was, and that's what we did in step 1. You acknowledge the thought, you surrender to it, which is basically like, all right, I'm on a train, it's going really fast, and it's going in this direction. That's step 1 and 2. This step 3, the letting it go, is slowing down the train so that it comes to a stop, and then eventually starts in the opposite direction, and then builds momentum in the opposite direction. And guess what? At that point, that means you just let it go. The thought that was going in this direction super fast, you have to let go of because you need it to go in this direction. But what happens is you can't just say, it's going 120 miles an hour in this direction, just let it go. Yeah, I can't. You just have to slow it down first. When you slow down the thought and you acknowledge it and you surrender to it, that is you slowing it down, slowing it down. That is you releasing from your body and making some space so that the train can stop. And then you go, okay, God, I feel better. All right, now what do I do? I don't know actually what the solution is, but I do know that there is something in my life right now that I can be grateful for, that I can focus on, that I can get this train moving in a different direction. What might that be? You know what? Right now it's my kids. It's my kids and their support. It's the fact that my husband comes home and he talks and he listens to me and he helps me process. And it's the sitting together on the couch tonight. Do you see how the train is going now in this direction? We've stopped the fear, or at least we slowed it down until it stops. And then we start going in the opposite direction. The letting it go part is the actual thought that you're going to acknowledge, surrender to, slow it down, and then build momentum with a thought, an opposite thought, a more positive thought, not the most positive thought. That's not how this works. You cannot go from my life sucks to my life is great overnight or within 2 minutes. You have to have these little tiny 1% increments, again, building the momentum of the train in the opposite direction until it starts to take off. So while you're building momentum, it's a 1% increase at a time. So if you're at the point where my life sucks and I've got a ton of symptoms and I don't know what to do about it, slow that thought down. Acknowledge it, surrender to it, which I always found is to be the hardest thing to do, is surrender to it, because the ego's like, don't surrender to it. We're not giving up, because surrendering feels like giving up. When actually what surrendering is just feeling it. You're going to feel that emotion, and then you're going to create space to allow yourself to make a 1% increase in positivity in another thought that will get you away from the freight train going in that direction. Once you do this, You can't skip steps, by the way. You can't go from 1 to 3 or from 2 to 4 because I'm giving you a bonus step 4. Once you go through the steps and you start creating that space inside you that feels safe, that feels better than what was going on 5 minutes ago with the panic attack, you're going to be amazed at the ideas that come. You're going to be amazed at once you've recognized the emotion and you start surrendering and feeling it, that's actually so much less scary than you anticipated. You're creating space now for the good thoughts to come in. When the good thoughts come in, then you start going, okay, what can I do? That's when you start reaching out for resources. You start going, okay, I have these symptoms. Who has healed these symptoms in the past? What have they done? Am I doing those things? Where can I increase either my diet or my mindset? What do I need to work on first? And that's when you start getting into, I can do this. I have a renewed sense of confidence. I'm no longer scared. Now, this might happen. The first time you do this, this might happen and you might have these great feelings within 5, 10, 15 minutes, and they might stay for a little while. But don't beat yourself up if the freight train starts going in the opposite direction again real fast, because you have to do these things over and over again. And guess what? You never get to stop doing these 3 steps: the acknowledge, the surrender, and the letting it go. You never stop doing these steps because life never stops handing you shit to deal with. I always thought that healing myself, losing the weight, getting rid of the symptoms, cleaning everything up, I always thought that once I could walk again, I would never have another problem in the world, because nothing would be as bad as not being able to walk. Nothing would be as bad as having MS symptoms. Nothing would be as bad as not being able to play with my kids. And for the most part, for a couple years, nothing was. Not everything was wonderful. But then life starts in again and starts giving you stuff to deal with. And you are going to take these exact same steps. And that's how you're going to get through the valleys of life. You think right now the valley of MS is the deepest valley you're ever going to be in. And that's what I thought too. And I'm still going through the valleys of life. And I'm still using the exact steps that I used back then. The only difference is I didn't know what I was doing back then. I finally have the words and the terminology to say, this is what I did, this is what works, and this is how you can do it. Our symptoms, when they start, they continue to get worse because of what we do to ourselves in our head. We don't feel it, we stay in fear, and then we catastrophize. And then everything sucks, and then everything starts going downhill. Did you ever notice that? When one thing happens to you, all of a sudden, you're spiraling now out of control until you have to work that much harder to get out of it. That's on the mindset part of it. When it comes to the physical part of it and actual physical symptoms, that's why when we start with lemon water and celery juice, we go so slow. The reason why we go so slow into the protocol is because you don't want to be getting into a physical valley that you can't get out of quickly. So let's jump back into the mental now, the emotional now. You don't want to go so far into this valley that it's going to take you hours and hours or panic attacks and panic attacks to get out of it. You want to catch yourself quickly. The more you do these steps, the quicker you're going to start catching the thoughts that are leading you to the downward spiral. And eventually, you're going to go through your days and say, oh, well, my computers just went off. You're going to go, where the hell did that thought come from? I don't want that thought. Let me slow that train before it even begins to gain. Now, if you want some help with the whole letting it go, this book, Loving What Is by Byron Katie. Loving What Is by Byron Katie. Google it first. Read about it. The work in here is so freaking amazing and powerful and works instantly. And the first thing that I thought when I saw this title, Loving What Is, okay, well, my leg's numb. I don't want to love that. So no, that doesn't apply to me. No, what she teaches you is to do exactly what I just said, but she teaches you the exact steps and the science behind why it works. When we are focused on something that is driving us crazy, that we can't freaking stand, it's very counterintuitive to us as women to indulge those feelings. We constantly want to go, no, let's do the positive. What can we do to fix this? We have to allow the ego mind a playground. I know this is going to sound crazy, but you'll understand the more you read inside this book. She calls it judging your neighbor, because the more judgy and petty that you allow your ego to be, the sooner you're going to open up some space so that intuition can come in. And if you want a little, if you want to cheat a little bit and you want to just go online to thework.com, thework.com has the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. It's amazing how quickly it works. I've summed it up in this live session with these 3 things, but go ahead and dive into thework.com. Once you allow, the concept is, once you allow your ego to have all of its judgments and all of its petty thoughts and everything that you've been taught not to think, not to feel, not to say it out loud, once you allow your mind to do that, it frees up so much space, and the ego actually quiets down because it was given its limelight. It was given its time to shine, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that felt good. I'm good. I got it all out. That's your ego. As soon as the ego calms down, the self is able to come up, and you're able to hear your thoughts, your soul, your intuition. But you can't hear that until you allow the ego to have its playground, to have its time in the limelight, saying everything that it wants to say that you try to pack down. This is going to be phase 2 of the protocol, where most of us are familiar with phase 1, the protocol, all the physical stuff, all the physical toxins, the Epstein Barr, everything that we have to get out of our body. That's a huge step. That's part of it. The other part of it is what phase 2 is going to be, and that is the subconscious programming that is running in the background, that we don't even know is running, that is fucking us up every day. But we can get into that subconscious programming by watching what our thoughts are, watching what comes out of our mouth, and going, I wonder where that came from. I wonder what's going on in the background. Once we raise our awareness to these things, it is amazing how quickly they go away and how quickly we can install new programs that are going to serve us. Our job is to just recognize what shouldn't be there, and the only way that we can do that is by having an awareness of our thoughts and watching the words that come out of our mouth. And I will teach you how to do this more and more as the weeks go on. When we go into a valley, the fear keeps us stuck in the valley. The feelings of inadequacy, we're never going to heal. This is what my life is going to be like forever. Fear, fear, fear. All of these fear thoughts keeps us stuck in the valley. If we do these steps and we can get out of fear, all of a sudden the ideas start coming to you and you start going, oh, you know what? You know what? Maybe this is what I need to do. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to go have a free consultation with Janine and, talk about this with her. What do I need to do for myself? Those ideas will come to you, but no ideas will come to you while you're in the fearful state. Teaching you how to clean out the physical body, how to clean out the emotional body, and begin healing. All right, everyone, have a great day. I'll see you soon.